$5,500. That is what United Overseas Bank now says you have to spend to get your credit card annual fee waived if you hold more than one of its cards. Until some point this year, UOB did not tell you that. If your request was declined, the bank's own page gave you one sentence. The decision was final. There would be no appeal. That was the whole answer. Now the number is published. So is a second number and a third. And so is one line underneath them that almost nobody will read, which quietly makes the first number bigger than it looks. Here is what I am going to argue. UOB has done something genuinely good here. It wrote down a rule that used to be folklore. The thing you learned from a forum post or from a friend who worked at a bank. But the rule it wrote down is not the only way its annual fees get paid. There is a second mechanism on a different UOB page, and that one runs automatically. It charges you in points, and the price it charges varies by more than 2 to 1 depending on which card the fee happened to land on. Both pages belong to UOB. I read both on the 28th of August, 2026, and I will show you the working every time. Chapter 1: The answer that was not an answer. Picture the moment this rule actually gets used. Your card renews, the annual fee lands on the statement. $196.20 on most UOB cards. You open the app, you tap through to fee waiver, you press the button. Then you wait. And what comes back is a yes or a no with nothing attached to it. I want to show you exactly what the bank's own page said about that no, because the change is easier to see if you have the before and the after side by side. The page is called UOB Card Fee Waiver. It lives under Card Services on uob.com.sg. The Internet Archive holds 2 captures of it, one from the 7th of March 2026, one from the 25th of August 2026. 2 captures and the archive's own content fingerprints for them do not match. So something on that page changed between those dates. I pulled both. Here is what the March version said under the heading, "Why did I get rejected for an annual membership waiver request? Can I appeal the result?" Quote, "The bank will periodically review the waiver criteria, and all waiver requests are subject to the bank's approval. Decision from our various self-serve channels are final, and we regret we will not be able to grant you any further waivers nor consider any appeals." End quote. Read that again as a customer would. You asked why you were rejected. The answer tells you that criteria exist, that the bank reviews them, and that you cannot appeal. It never tells you what the criteria are. I searched that March capture for every number a customer might need. 5,500. Not present, 22,000. Not present, any mention of an 11-month window, or of assets under management, or even the phrase annual fee waiver eligibility. None of it is there. Now the current page, which I read on the 28th of August. Same question, different answer. Quote, "Your annual fee waiver request has been declined if you did not meet the eligibility criteria during the applicable annual fee period." End quote. That still sounds like nothing. But scroll up and there is now a whole section that did not exist before, headed Credit Card Annual Fee Waiver Eligibility, and it contains actual numbers. So let me be precise about what I can and cannot tell you. I can tell you the criteria are on the page now and were not on it in March. I cannot tell you the exact day they appeared because the archive only holds those 2 captures and the page carries no last updated stamp of its own. Somewhere in 5.5 months, UOB started publishing its own rule. It did not announce it. Does that sound like a small thing to you? Consider what the old page was actually asking of you. Meet a standard you cannot see, fail it, and be told the decision is final. And there is one more line, still on the page today, that tells you how much this matters. From the 1st of February 2025, UOB stopped accepting fee waiver requests through a customer service officer. Requests go through the app, through phone banking, or through the digital assistant. Nowhere else. So the human you used to be able to persuade is gone. What replaced the human is a rule. Which is exactly why the rule needs to be visible. Now it is. Let us go and read it. Chapter 2, 3 numbers and the one that is 4 times the other. Here is the section as UOB writes it. If you hold a single credit card with UOB, or you have a private banking or privileged reserve banking relationship with the bank, you request the waiver through a self-serve channel, and UOB says it will waive the fee automatically. One card ask done. There are 2 exceptions and the page names them. the Visa Infinite Metal Card and the Reserve Card. On UOB's own annual fee table, both carry the same three words in the waiver column: cannot be waived. The Reserve Card's annual fee is $3,924. The Visa Infinite Metal Card is $654. Neither can be waived by any route. If you hold one of those, this video is not about you. For everyone else, the interesting case is the second one. Quote, if you hold multiple credit cards with UOB to qualify, you must spend, and then 3 bullets. $5,500 on the credit card charged with the annual fee, or $22,000 across all your UOB credit cards, or $3,000 in overseas spent across all your UOB credit cards. Any one of the three, end quote. Now hold the first two next to each other. $5,500 on the fee-paying card, $22,000 across all of them. $22,000 divided by $5,500 is exactly 4. What? That ratio is not an accident, and it is worth sitting with because it tells you what the bank is actually buying with this rule. UOB does not want your spending. It has your spending either way. What it wants is your spending * concentrated * on the card that carries the fee. Put it on that card and the bar is $5,500. Spread it across your wallet and the bar becomes 4 times as high. So think about who that lands on. Which UOB customer holds several UOB cards? It is not the casual one. It is the person who read the guides. The one who has the one card for the cashback, the ladies card for the bonus category, the PRVI miles card for travel, maybe a Visa signature for petrol and contactless. That is the optimizer. That is the entire premise of UOB's own card range, which is built around category cards that reward you for splitting your spending by merchant type. And splitting your spending by merchant type is precisely the behavior that pushes you from the 5,500 test onto the 22,001. The product design and the waiver rule point in opposite directions. Do you find that odd? I do. Though I want to be fair about it, because there is a reading where it is simply the bank pricing a relationship, and I will come back to that at the end. Then there is the third route, and it is the cheapest of the three by a distance. $3,000 in overseas spend, across all cards, so no concentration required. $3,000 against $22,000 is about 1/7. What? Ask yourself why overseas spending would be worth 7 times as much to the bank as ordinary local spending. I cannot tell you UOB's reasoning because UOB does not publish it, and I am not going to invent one for it. What I can tell you is the shape. Of the 3 doors UOB has opened, the widest by far is the one marked overseas. That is not a scandal. It is a bank behaving like a bank in public in writing, which is more than we had in March. But it does mean something for how you read these 3 numbers. They are not 3 equivalent hurdles, they are a price list. And the discount goes to whichever behavior is worth most to the issuer. And before we go on, I owe you a sentence that sits 2 lines under those bullets, because it qualifies everything I have just told you. Quote, other factors such as your overall relationship with the bank and amount of assets under management are also considered in our criteria. End quote. Read that again. The 3 numbers are not the rule. They are the part of the rule UOB has chosen to show you. There is another part, your relationship, your assets, and it carries no number at all. What? So you could hit 5,500 exactly on the right card inside the window and still be declined. The page says so in advance. It just never says how much that other half weighs. Does that make publishing the numbers worthless? Not at all. Half a visible rule beats none of one. But hold these 3 figures more loosely than they look on the page. Nothing there says they are sufficient. 1 line down from those bullets sits the sentence I think most people will skim. It is 14 words long, and it moves every one of those 3 thresholds. Chapter 3, 11 months. Here is the sentence. Quote, this spend must be within the first 11 months from your card anniversary date. End quote. 11, not 12s. And UOB does you the courtesy of a worked example right there on the page, so there is no room to argue about what it means. Quote, example, if your annual fee was charged on 1 May 2026, spending from 1 May 2025 to 31 March 2026 will be counted. End quote. Read the dates. The window opens on the 1st of May 2025. It shuts on the 31st of March 2026. The fee arrives on the 1st of May 2026. So April is gone. The month immediately before your fee lands does not count. Now let me show you what that does to the number in front of it, because this is the arithmetic the page does not do for you. Say you spend at a steady rate, same amount every month roughly the way most people actually do. The published threshold is $5,500. Over 12 months, $5,500 is $458 a month. Spend at that rate, and after 11 months you are sitting at $5,042. You fail. You spent the full $5,500 that the page asked for, you spent it on the right card, and you fail. Because $500 of it landed in a month the test cannot see. To pass, you need $500 a month every month. 12 of those is $6,000. So the real annual run rate the rule demands is $6,000 against a published figure of $5,500. That is 9.1% more than the number on the page. Do the same for the other two. $22,000 over 11 months is $2,000 a month. Over a year, $24,000. $3,000 in overseas spend over 11 months is $272.73 a month. Over a year, $3,273. Every published threshold is about 9% softer than the amount you actually need to spend in a year to clear it. I want to be careful here because I am not accusing UOB of hiding anything. The 11 months is stated. The worked example is stated. Both are on the same screen as the thresholds. Nothing is buried. The problem is not concealment. The problem is what a reader does with a number. When you read 5,500, you file it as an annual target. That is what a number attached to an annual fee looks like. The correction sits one line below in a sentence about dates, and dates are the part of a terms page that eyes slide off. And now think about when the 11 months actually bites. It bites in the 12th month, the one that does not count. Suppose you are the kind of person who tracks this. In April you check and you find yourself $400 short. What do? There is nothing you can do. April is outside the window. The purchase you make to fix it is invisible to the test, and the fee arrives on the 1st of May regardless. The 1 month in which a careful customer would notice the problem is the 1 month in which fixing it is impossible. Is that deliberate? I have no idea, and I am not going to pretend otherwise. There is a perfectly boring operational explanation available. A bank needs a cutoff before it batches the renewals, and 1 month is a reasonable amount of processing slack. I would probably design it the same way. But whatever the reason, the effect on you is the same. The window is 11/12ths of a year, and the threshold is quoted as though it were a whole one. And here is the part that decides how much any of this matters. If you fail the test, you do not simply get charged. On most UOB cards, something else happens first. And it happens without you asking for it. Chapter 4, the other page. The fee waiver page tells you how to get the fee removed. It does not tell you how the fee usually gets paid. For that, you need a different page. UOB credit card annual fee, 2 clicks away under the same card services menu. And near the top of it above the table sits this. Quote, for UOB cards earning UNI dollars as a form of rewards, if you have sufficient unused UNI dollars in your account, your UNI dollars will be automatically used to waive your annual fees where applicable. End quote. Automatically, not on request, not if you ask. UNI dollars are UOB's rewards currency. You earn them when you spend, and the bank's own rewards help pages set out what they are worth. Quote, your UNI dollars can be converted to either Crease Flyer or Asia miles in blocks of 5,000 UNI dollars to 10,000 miles. So 1 UNI dollar is 2 airline miles. That is UOB's number, not mine. It is the rate the bank publishes for turning points into miles. Now look at the annual fee table, which has a column headed Full Waiver. On the Ladies card, on the Preferred Platinum, on the Metro UOB Platinum, on the Visa Signature, and on the PRVI Miles World MasterCard and Visa, that column reads the same thing. 6,500 UNI dollars. Multiply by 2. 13,000 miles. That is what the automatic waiver costs. 13,000 Crease Flyer or Asia miles taken from your account at renewal if the balance is there. Now put that next to what we read in Chapter 2. The published cash route asks you to spend $5,500 on the fee-paying card, and it costs you nothing in points at all. The automatic route costs 13,000 miles. How much spending does 13,000 miles represent? UOB tells you that too, on the same rewards page. Quote, you earn $1 for every 5 Singapore dollars you spend on eligible purchases on an eligible UOB card. That is the base rate, $1 per $5 spent. 6,500 UNI at the base rate is $32,500 of spending. Compare that with the 5,500 that would have got the fee waived for free. It is nearly 6 times as much. On a higher earning card, the gap narrows but does not close. The PRVI Miles card pays UNI $3.5 for every $5 of local spend, 1.4 miles per dollar, on UOB's own product page. 6,500 UNI at that rate takes $9,286 of local spending. Still 69% more than the cash threshold on the same card. So which one happens to you? I do not know, and I want to say that plainly rather than guess, because it is the single most valuable thing a UOB customer could be told, and neither page says it. Here is what the 2 pages do say. The points deduction is described as automatic. The cash waiver is described as something you request through the app or the phone line or the chatbot. One of those requires you to do nothing, the other requires you to act. Read them together and the default is that you pay in points. If I am wrong about that, if UOB tests the spend criteria first and only reaches for your UNI dollars when you have failed, then the bank has a genuinely good story to tell and it is telling nobody. One sentence on the fee waiver page would fix it. That sentence is not there, I looked. UNI dollars appear on the fee waiver page exactly twice, both times inside a promotional banner in the site navigation, advertising 0% foreign exchange fees on ringgit spending across the causeway. Not once in the section about your annual fee. Chapter 5, same points, different price. 6,500 UNI dollars is 6,500 UNI dollars. It does not matter which card earned them. It is one balance in one account under one rewards program. So here is a question worth asking. If the automatic waiver always takes the same 6,500, does it always clear the same fee? It does not. Take UOB's annual fee table and read down the 2 columns together. The principal card fee on the left, the full waiver price on the right. The ladies card, annual fee $196.20. Full waiver 6,500 UNI dollars. The Visa signature, annual fee $218. Full waiver 6,500 UNI dollars. The PRVI Miles World MasterCard and Visa, annual fee $261.60. Full waiver 6,500 UNI dollars. Same points, 3 different fees. Turn each into a price per mile and the spread becomes obvious. 6,500 UNI dollars is 13,000 miles, so divide the fee by 13,000. On the ladies card, 1.51 Singapore cents a mile. On the Visa signature, 1.68. On the PRVI Miles World, 2.01. Now go to the ends of the table. The ladies solitaire card, fee $414.20. Full waiver 10,000 UNI dollars. 20,000 miles, that works out at 2.07 cents a mile. And at the other end, the classic MasterCard and Visa Platinum, fee $39.24, full waiver 2,000 UNI dollars, 4,000 miles. $39.24 divided by 4,000 miles. 0.98 cents a mile. 2.07 at the top, 0.98 at the bottom. The same currency in the same account in the same program, redeeming at a rate that varies by more than 2 to 1, depending on which plastic rectangle the fee happened to land on. If you hold a classic card, 4,000 of your miles go to clear a $39 fee. If you hold a ladies solitaire, 4,000 of your miles would clear about $83 of fee, same 4,000 miles. And you do not choose, the page says automatically. Now let me argue against myself because there is a real counter case here. Is 2 cents a mile actually bad? No. On the PRVI Miles World and the ladies solitaire, the automatic waiver is redeeming your points at around 2 Singapore cents each, and that is a defensible number. It is in the region where a lot of people value a KrisFlyer mile. There is also a cost you avoid. UOB charges a conversion fee of $27 every time you move UNI dollars into miles, and it only moves them in blocks of 5,000. 6,500 is not a whole number of blocks, and UNI dollars expire 2 years after the quarter you earned them in. UOB says so on its own rewards page. So for some cardholders on some cards, having the bank quietly spend the points on a fee is a perfectly reasonable outcome. I will not pretend otherwise. But that defense gets weaker the further down the table you go. At 0.98 cents a mile on the classic card, you are handing over points worth roughly twice what they are clearing. And on every card, the objection stands whatever the rate. It is not presented to you as a choice. There is no line on the fee waiver page saying, before you request this, note that your points may already have paid it. Which brings me to the strangest row in the whole table. Chapter 6, 50,000 or 5.5. The PRVI Miles card comes in 3 flavors: a World MasterCard, a Visa, and an American Express. All 3 carry the same annual fee, $261.60. On UOB's annual fee table, the MasterCard and Visa show a full waiver price of 6,500 UNI dollars. The American Express shows something else entirely. Quote, spend per annum 50,000 Singapore dollars. End quote. $50,000 a year. Now go back to the fee waiver page, the one UOB has just published, and read what it says the multiple card threshold is. $5,500 on the card carrying the fee. $50,000 on one page, $5,500 on the other. Same card, same fee, same bank, same day. I read both on the 28th of August, 2026. That is a ninefold difference in what UOB tells you it takes. So which is it? I genuinely cannot tell you, and that is the finding. Both pages are live, neither refers to the other, neither carries a date, neither says which one governs. There are readings that reconcile them. Perhaps the 50,000 figure is a legacy card-specific term that the new general criteria now override. Perhaps the general criteria are a floor and card-specific conditions sit on top. Perhaps the 50,000 line simply has not been updated. Every one of those is plausible, not one of them is written down. And notice what a customer is supposed to do with this. If you hold the PRVI Miles American Express and you are deciding whether to push spending onto it before your anniversary, the difference between those two numbers is $44,500 of your money. You cannot resolve it from the published material, you would have to ask. And since February 2025, asking is a chatbot. Publishing a rule is a real improvement. Publishing 2 of them is not. Chapter 7, The Bank Going the Other Way. I have been hard on UOB for 4 chapters. Before you take that as the verdict, look across the road. Because the direction of travel there is worse. On the 1st of August, 3.5 weeks before the archive first caught UOB's new criteria, DBS closed several of its own. This is on DBS's own annual fee page, which I read on the 28th of August. It is not a blog report. The bank states it in the table itself, card by card. On the DBS Vantage card, annual fee $599.50. Quote, with effect from 1 August 2026, the annual fee waiver eligibility upon meeting the retail spend of 60,000 Singapore dollars in the previous card year will be ceased. End quote. The same sentence with 25,000 in place of 60,000 appears against the DBS Altitude Visa signature, the DBS Altitude American Express, and the DBS Woman's World MasterCard. All 3 carry a $196.20 fee. So on the 1st of August, DBS removed the spend route to a waiver on 4 of its cards. 3.5 weeks later, you could read UOB's spend route on UOB's website, where in March you would have found nothing. Do you see what that means for how you plan? One of those changes shrinks what you can do. The other only changes what you can know. One bank took the ladder away, the other one wrote down where the rungs are. Which would you rather be a customer of? I know how that reads, so let me be careful. UOB has not made anything cheaper here. As far as I can tell, it has changed no threshold at all. It has changed what it tells you. And give DBS this. It printed the change, the card, and the effective date in its own fee table where you can find it. That is more than the silent update we have spent this video reconstructing from an archive. Both banks did something for you this month. Only one of them did it on purpose and loudly. And if you are keeping score at home, neither of them made anything cheaper. Chapter 8. What would break this? Let me leave you with the 3 numbers that matter, and with what would make me withdraw each of them. 11 months, not 12. That comes with UOB's own worked example, so it is not in doubt. And it means the 5,500 threshold is really a 6,000-a-year habit. Nothing would change my mind about that short of UOB rewriting the example. 6,500 UNI dollars taken automatically worth 13,000 miles. That one rests on reading 2 UOB pages together, and the bank does not publish how they interact. If UOB were to say that it tests your spending before it touches your points, most of my Chapter 4 objection evaporates. I would say so. And 2.07 cents against 0.98. That is straight division of UOB's own table, and I would only retract it if the table is wrong. Here is the honest summary. UOB has published something it used to keep to itself, and that is worth more than any single number in it. A rule you can read is a rule you can plan around, argue with, and check. Half a rule at least. The page still reserves the right to weigh your assets and your standing with the bank, and it puts no number on either. But a published rule invites you to trust it, and the moment you take this one seriously, the moment you actually plan your year around $5,500, you discover the window is short by a month. The second card quadruples the bar, and there is another page where the fee may already have been settled in miles. None of that is hidden, all of it is on uob.com.sg. It is just on 3 different pages, and only you are reading all 3. Nothing here is financial or travel advice, and none of it is a recommendation about any card. Check the numbers against UOB's own pages before you act on them, because as this video has just demonstrated, those pages change, and they change without telling you.